get destroyed.
I've used Annihilator too.
Hello.
So we'll take like the big shards that they have left over and put a piece of 4-foot speed rail and have them hang down the shards from there, and then just like bump it before we take, and then they'll all kind of like
Disco ball, baby.
you know. Yeah.
Our church in Gary, Indiana, I actually worked on a previous shoot with a friend, Stu Hot Wagner. He was the busboy electric at that location for that day, and he shot a music, or I guess a dance video that he shot there. It was a really fun project, and I had a great time working on it. And when we were looking for abandoned locations for this, it popped into my head, and I knew, like, Kelsey and I looked at pictures, and we knew it was the place that we wanted to go with.
That was a big deal for production. We had to transport everybody to Indiana. It was a full day on set.
When Ryan first approached about having me operate this film, he said they were going to be having some dynamic locations, and this one is obviously the most dynamic of all of them. Shooting in an abandoned church in Gary, Indiana, and it's just stunning, really. And everybody says it's about the location and what's on the frame, and Ryan really took that to heart with this one.
So with the church, that was a really sensitive location, I guess. There was a lot of emotion behind it, and we were kind of dealing with the idea of a distorted perception of oneself. You're not necessarily seeing yourself in the way that other people see you, and the broken mirror and the shattered shards of glass hanging from the ceiling kind of represented that broken self-image.
Fire in the hole!
Burn up!
Setting up for a lot of the shots took quite a bit of time, and we knew this was going to be an important place, so we really wanted to have that extra time for it. So rather than doing it in a half day, we decided to take an entire day just for that place, because we knew it was such a big moment for the character, and we knew that it was a big moment for us, and something that we really, really wanted to get the right emotion out of throughout the project.
Alex did an amazing job with making the mirrors just this chaotic whirl, just this thing that it's too much, it's too hard to handle, and he built this beautiful, he really brought it to life with some of the plants growing through this. There could be life here, you need a little bit of help to get there. We put a camera in front of 50 or 60 spinning mirrors and just kind of had to figure out how to not see ourselves. When we did the shot where Hannah is looking at herself in some mirror shards, and then we pan to see her, that was the most coordination. We had three women in our art department holding the shards, and before we could go for a take, we had to get them at the right angle so that we're not seeing camera. Hannah was placed in the proper place in each mirror, and then they just had to hold it.
That's gross.
Yeah, cool. The entire abandoned church was a play on self-image and self-injury. She sees herself in these mirrors and can't really get a clear image of how she actually looks, and just as an escape from that, an escape from the pain of seeing herself in a way that she doesn't want to see herself, she does end up hurting herself on the mirrors. We definitely fought for that space because it looked like a house that was once beautiful that had crumbled, and I think that that's easy to feel when you're suffering from depression or anxiety, just that you have the potential to be so beautiful, and for whatever reason you're seeing yourself just distorted.
That's a wrap. That's how you're gonna do it?
All right, that's a wrap for today, guys. That's a wrap for today. To be completely honest, that's the story that they have is kind of what drew me to it, because it doesn't feel like a Columbia production. I don't know if that's a bad thing to say, but it's unique in that way, and that's a lot of what drew me to it. And then I didn't even know about the sets, what the sets were going to look like, but they completely delivered as far as in comparison to the script. I mean, everything was just gorgeous. It was a little bit challenging on my part as a script soup, because the first scene was a party, so jumping right into it, you're managing the continuity for 15, 16 different people. And then on day 4, you're working with mirrors, so you're managing on a tiny little screen, on the tiny little monitor, because we're shooting film, everything that's being reflected in mirrors. I mean, they've killed it. They've just done a beautiful job setting everything up.